So I think I've done it again and beaten Quinn's ideas as well as Secrets of Dune to the punch because we're getting a first look at the production of Dune, but in an interesting angle. There have already been a sharing of some of the photos of where the production is beginning in Italy with Dune Part 2. And who do we have but Irulan? Now, I want to forewarn, this isn't much. It's only a little bit more with Irulan, but we do get a few more things. And again, I can't confirm this. I don't have independent sources. So take it with a grain of salt. But now we're getting a first look at Irulan. And it's a little strange. I don't know, is this her in costume? Or perhaps Francis is just walking to be put into a costume? Because, of course, she's part of House Carino. It's a very regal house. So the outfit, for what it is, looks fairly plain. So I'm like, I wonder what's going on here. Now, the good and bad thing is that Denis is moving away from the books, sometimes small, sometimes radical. We'll do more on that in other places in other videos. So we really don't know what's going to happen now with Irulan. In the books, she's a kind of constant presence through a kind of narrative voice. And I do think for now the Lynch version is the best one, where basically she speaks directly to us and she comes in at critical points of the narrative. I do appreciate the sci fi version making her more of a kind of spy and giving her more to do. But again, that's not really in the books, and I thought it was a little contrived in too many places. So Denis has a pretty wide canvas of what to do with Oriolon and what to do with the Emperor. But again, although I did not like Frances in Black Widow, I do recognize she's a really great actress. So I think she'll do the role a lot of justice, though I would have picked someone else, like maybe Samara Weaving, but that's me. So we're getting some idea of what they're going to do with Irulan. Now, again, in terms of the book canon, it's a little strange because she's a little too young for what Irulan is canonically, because she's supposed to be an older woman. Because when we reach Dune Messiah, she's much, much more mature. It makes a little bit more sense why she's alienated from Paul and wants to seek revenge. So I wonder how they're going to adjust for that. Are they just going to age her through makeup? Are they going to keep her for Dune Messiah? Are they going to find someone else? It's a lot of mysteries with her. But she definitely is on the set of Italy because we have seen her in a car. So she's definitely there. And we've also looked a little bit at the Italian location. And I would presume this is going to be for House Carino because, of course, Paul is training with the Fremen. For the most part, he should be in the desert. And presumably they will go back to Jordan, where they shot a lot of Dune Part 1. But a lot of the filming is supposed to happen in Hungary, and Italy, I would assume, is just being done for some critical scenes. We don't, as far as I know, have anything with the Emperor, which is kind of curious. So perhaps her and the Emperor are just not physically in the same location for a lot of the story. It could be the case. But so we are getting a little bit more with Irulan and what we think will happen with her and where she will be. And the basic disposition of House Carino. We've already gotten a few more things. We have been shown the symbol of House Carino, but again, we still don't know too much about the Emperor because he was sort of off camera. They speak of him, but we never get a full direct shot. We do get quite a lot though within Dune Part 1, even more than I expected. We actually saw Aaliyah, or at least a vision of Aaliyah, because we do see Paul's mother, the Lady Jessica, holding a baby, which I presume is Aaliyah. It could be technically Paul's child. Paul did have a child, but the child died tragically. So this is a major point with Dune Messiah that they want to have another child, but it's linked to a very gruesome future that Paul does not want. So even though a lot of characters were cut out of Dune Part 1, including, of course, perhaps the most critical, his doppelganger, we did get quite a few more characters than I expected. And we've already got the casting of some Fremen that has already been done. I've already done a video on that. So we're getting a fuller sense of who the Fremen are going to be, what they're going to look like. So the cast is being built up, but there's still a lot of critical pieces we're missing. As far as I know, we still don't know who Hassamir is. We don't know who the other critical Fremen are. There's also, of course, the Emperor's entourage. How much are they going to fill that out? And also, Irulan has sisters. So there's still a lot of mysteries to be yet revealed about what they're going to do with Dune and what direction they're going to go in. Because they have kind of confirmed most of the plot will be followed. And I guess you could argue Dune Part 1 also conformed to the basic narrative structure of Dune novel, that they made a lot of changes to critical details, and the world building was very significantly different. I still mostly liked what they did, but I think in the future videos I'll be much more critical because they definitely changed perhaps too many details, and that'll very much confuse people who either read the books or are treating the adaptation even on its own terms. There's just a lot of gaps. But we did get a lot. We got the Guild, we got Aaliyah, we got Lady Jessica, we got a lot of the Bene Gesserit. We spent a good deal amount of time with the Baron and Pitter, although again, they're not really the book versions. We did spend a good deal of time with House Harkonnen, as well as some of the internal politics of the Empire as it's being presented in Dune, and the way that the spice is so central to the economy and politics of the entire fictional universe. So there we are. We're getting a pretty interesting first look at what they intend to do with Dune Part 2. I will be doing more work and showing more photos and more images in the days and weeks ahead as the production goes into full swing. So it looks pretty good, and as you'd expect, this is going to be mostly practical, which I appreciated very much. I do understand the place of CGI and modern filmmaking, but I did appreciate very much that Denis tried to keep it as grounded and as realistic as possible, especially with something with Dune, which is so fantastic. You want to keep it fairly grounded, especially for a new audience that is not familiar with the entire mythology. Irulan looks great, but we want to wait for more to come out to sort of see where they're going with her story and whether there will be significant differences and twists from the novel. Thank you for listening.